So here I go again. I'm back again. Um, I really expected this to just be my mental health and physical health kind of mini vlogging situation. But what I'm realizing is that there are all kinds of things that touch on it. And so I'm going to talk about this. I was rewatching Grimm again, and I still am. And there's an episode that comes up where there are Vesson being stolen away to participate in fights to the death. And one of the only fighter who we see die on screen is a black one. And I did what I do in those situations where I noticed the thing, right, that just happened. I sort of just tell myself, I'm here for the show. This is not important, and of course, and it doesn't matter. But first, I hear my dad's ear in my head, my dad's voice in my ear. Excuse me. Um, we'd be watching shows when I was a kid, and he would say, "Yep, that black guy, he's getting ready to die. He's gonna be the first one to die," and then it would happen. And I remember as a kid just being irritated at him trying to mess up my good time. And then while it was happening, he would say something like, "They sure know how to make a black man look afraid." And again, I just thought he was trying to mess up my good time. Getting, a few decades under my belt of watching these tropes sort of continue, sort of the trope where show creators use black characters to demonstrate the ruthlessness and the badness of their bad guy as cannon fodder. I watched the bad guys, chase this guy down on horseback, lasso him, drag him behind their horses. I watched all of that happen. That all happened on screen. Nothing anywhere near as awful happened to any other character on screen during the show. Okay? And then when he dies, he is the only character that we witness whose death we witness in the ring. And Hollywood does this shit all the time. It's like they can't help themselves. And I've always dealt with this kind of stuff because honestly, unless you're watching shows created only by black people or unless you're watching shows by and for black people, this is the stuff that you see. I usually tell myself I'm fine. But what I realized was that my chest was starting to tighten up and my throat was starting to close up. The anger and the frustration, and also what people mean you to feel, what creators mean you to feel when they write characters, is they mean you to feel empathy for the characters they create. And unfortunately, when it comes to black characters, creators understand that the level of empathy that white audiences are expected to have for the suffering of black characters is not high. But unfortunately, I am black. And so everybody's suffering bothers me. Pretty much the same amount. And to see a character dragged behind horseback and then just killed in a fight to prove how serious the circumstances are, and to have that character so often be black actually makes me feel more for them, because I recognize that the intent of showing their death on screen, of the times when show creators will show the torture and the pain and the begging for their lives and their screams, while they do not do the same thing for white characters in the same program. The intent is that I not feel as much for them. And so what I understand in watching this show alongside of everybody else in America is that there's a huge part of America that didn't really move the needle for that much. What it did impress upon them is that the bad guy is really bad. And that's what that was for. Because there's a limit to how much suffering you can put on a white character, depending on the context of what you're watching, before America checks out. But that does not have the same vibe when it comes to black characters suffering and dying in close-up on screen over and over again. And that bothers me. It upsets me. And it also upsets me to see the suffering that the character is supposed to go to. I don't like it. I don't like admitting that it does. I would like to believe that I'm the kind of person for whom it doesn't really, that this is just TV, it's just fiction, I just write it off. That's what I want to be. And that's what I keep trying to tell myself I am. But I'm not. Because, art is created in order to evoke a response, an emotional response. And it's just that when writers and directors do this kind of stuff, they just evoke more of a response for some of us than they bargained for.